So Revenge of the Judoon gave a lot for us to talk about. There are a lot of things we could discuss about Revenge of the Judoon. But in this video, I want to talk about one aspect of the episode specifically, and that is the new Tardis we saw.
Come on, old girl.
Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome to my channel where I talk about all the geeky pop culture that I love. We're going to talk today about the new TARDIS that we saw. Not Jodie's new TARDIS, unfortunately. I'm not a massive fan of Jodie's TARDIS. It's gotten better this season, I will admit. I like the stairs they've added. There's a few other little features. I like the little rejig they've done with it. It's definitely improved it. However, it is still my least favourite TARDIS. But here we have, in this episode, a new TARDIS. The Roof Doctor's TARDIS, for want of a better word. Whether or not she turns out to be the Doctor or not, she definitely has a TARDIS. So what do we think about it? Well, there's been a few. Obviously, we got what we saw in the episode itself, but also we got some lovely stills released that absolutely look beautiful. And I just love this TARDIS. So let's start by looking at this wide shot. We have the roundels. We have the original TARDIS console, or near enough. Some of the buttons might be in different places, but it's got the general shape, it's got the feel, it's got the same middle bit, it's got the bit coming down from the ceiling. Lovely stuff. And in the background you've kind of got the databanks area there that the original TARDIS had as well. You've got all these original elements, and yet it feels so fresh and new as well. And partly that's down to the arrangement of them, partly that's the colour scheme they've added to it. They've got this blue hue over the whole thing, and it's lit in this kind of very blue atmosphere. So although the walls probably are white because of the lighting, it kind of has this lovely blue aesthetic to it, which I quite like. But what I like about it is it doesn't feel as constricted as the original TARDIS. You can see that there are, you can go around the corner at the back there. In other photos, there are doorways, there's little alcovey bits. It looks like it leads off into other bits of the TARDIS, which is one thing the original, although there were doors in the original set, you didn't see them that often, and they kind of just look like ordinary doors but with some roundels stuck on. This looks like it goes off into different directions. I really like what they've done with this. But you've also got these sort of elements that kind of harken to the newer stuff as well, because if you look at the edges, you've got these rib type things, which kind of are a bit like the coral type things we saw in Tennant's and Eccleston's TARDIS, or the War Doctor's TARDIS, or McGann's TARDIS. So you've got that kind of design element, which I think stops it just being an empty room. You've got a bit of depth to it, which is quite nice. Also, you've got this lovely grating on the floor, which adds a bit of texture to it. You can see underneath it, adds another element to shine some light up through. You can imagine the Doctor having to get down there to fix something, and that's another element that they've sort of taken from the more modern designs. We have, again, Tennant's TARDIS had this. Taking these elements from the newer TARDISes and adding them into this quite original inspired design, I think has worked really well. And I really wish we'd gotten something like this as Jodie's TARDIS. However, maybe slightly a bit bigger, because although this does have the walkways leading off of it and the corners you can turn and the little alcoves, what it doesn't have is the kind of big expansive space that some of the more modern TARDISes have had, like Capaldi's TARDIS or Matt Smith's first TARDIS. Those ones felt really big. They had levels. So what I would really love to see is something like this, but for Jodie, but bigger. So this kind of aesthetic with the original roundels, with the original looking console, those kind of elements, but bigger and with levels and with stairways and things. That I would really like to see. They also have the original TARDIS doors, no police box interior doors, which is interesting. That plays into probably some theories about where this Doctor comes in the timeline. That's not what this video is about, though. We're not talking about that here. Although feel free to discuss it in the comments below if you wish. But that's interesting. I've only really just clocked that might be relevant, and it's good to see them again. What I would really like to see is the original TARDIS doors on the inside, but opening up to a little alcove that has the TARDIS box in it to then lead out again. So sort of a double door system, a porch system, if you will. That would be quite nice. I think the TARDIS console is original era, Hartnell era. I think I've seen somebody mention Pertwee on Twitter when posting a picture of it. So maybe it has elements of Pertwee's TARDIS console as well. Maybe they're the same console, I can't remember, but it definitely has the interior bit that was used in Adventure in Time and Space, I think. So they're obviously reusing the same prop. So yeah, overall, this is one of my favourite TARDIS designs, actually. If this was actually an official TARDIS design for the main series, I did a ranking video a little while ago about all the TARDIS designs. Jodie's was on the bottom. My favourite one was Capaldi's. This would probably rank, I don't know, it's a really good one. It could easily go second or third in my rankings, slotting in there, I think. I really like this. But what do you guys think? Do you like this TARDIS design? Would you like to see something similar for Jodie or for the next Doctor, if they don't change it before Jodie? They probably won't now. But if they were going to redesign the TARDIS for a new Doctor, would you want to see something along this sort of aesthetic? Let me know in the comments below. And I'll be back for more Doctor Who videos, including the review this Sunday of the latest episode. So do join me for that. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.